Have you ever felt so angry that you just wanted to run away? Or imagined a magical place where you could be king? That's exactly what happens in Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. This classic book takes us on a journey with Max, a boy full of energy and mischief, who sails away to an island of wild creatures. But what does this story really mean? Is it just about adventure, or is there something deeper? Max is a little boy who loves to play and cause trouble. One night, he wears a wolf costume and runs around the house, making a big mess. He chases the dog, knocks things over, and acts wild. His mother gets angry and calls him a wild thing. Max doesn't like that. He gets even angrier and shouts back at his mother. As punishment, she sends him to bed without dinner. Alone in his room, Max feels upset, but something strange happens. His room begins to change. The walls turn into trees, and a forest starts to grow. Then, a mysterious ocean appears, and a boat is waiting just for him. Max steps inside and sails away. But where is he going? We'll find out soon. Stay tuned with us. Max sails across the ocean for a long time. He does not know where he is going, but he is not afraid. The waves move gently, and the wind pushes his boat forward. He watches the sky change from day to night and back to day again. It feels like he has been sailing for weeks, but he does not feel tired or hungry. The ocean carries him far away from home, to a place he has never seen before. Then, in the distance, he sees something. It is an island, covered with tall trees and thick forests. The island looks wild and mysterious. Max sails closer and steps onto the shore. He walks through the trees, and suddenly, he sees something strange. Giant creatures with big eyes and sharp teeth appear from behind the trees. They have horns, claws, and shaggy fur. Some have big noses, some have long arms, and some have spotted skin. They are unlike anything Max has ever seen. These are the wild things. The wild things roar loudly and show their sharp teeth. They roll their terrible eyes and raise their big claws. They look scary, but Max does not run away. Instead, he looks at them without fear. He knows that he has to be brave. Max has an idea. He stares at the wild things and does not blink. He lifts his arms and makes a scary face. He looks wild just like them. The wild things stop roaring. They look at Max in surprise. They see that he is not afraid. They see that he is wild too. Then something amazing happens. The wild things stop trying to scare Max. Instead, they cheer for him. They are happy to see someone as wild as they are. They lift him up and call him the king of the wild things. Max smiles. He likes being their king. He feels powerful and free. The wild things listen to Max. They do whatever he tells them to do. He leads them in a wild rumpus. They run, jump, dance, and howl at the moon. They climb trees and chase each other through the forest. Max has never had so much fun. He feels like he belongs here. This is his kingdom, and he is the king. Max enjoys being the king of the wild things. They listen to him, and they do whatever he says. He feels powerful. He tells them to make a big fire, and they dance around it. They run through the forest, jumping and shouting. They swing from trees and chase each other in the moonlight. The wild things make loud noises, but Max loves it. He feels free, like nothing can stop him. The wild things love Max because he is wild like them. They follow him everywhere. When he laughs, they laugh. When he runs, they run. They think he is the best king they have ever had. Max enjoys all the attention. He likes being the ruler of the island. He does not have to listen to anyone. He does not have to follow any rules. He can do whatever he wants. But after a while, Max starts to feel different. At first, he does not understand what is wrong. He has everything he wanted. He is the king. He has fun all the time. No one tells him what to do. But something is missing. He starts to feel lonely. Even though he is surrounded by the wild things, he watches the wild things playing, but he does not feel like playing anymore. He sits by himself and thinks. He remembers his home. He remembers his mother. He remembers the warm food she makes. He remembers how she takes care of him. He starts to miss her. He starts to miss his house, his room, and his bed. Max realizes something. Even though he is the king, even though he can do anything he wants, he does not feel happy anymore. He thought being wild and free would make him happy forever. But now he feels empty inside. The wild things love him, but they are not his family. This is not his real home. Max looks at the wild things. They still cheer for him. They still think he is their king. But he knows that he cannot stay here. He knows that he wants to go home. Max stands up and looks at the wild things. They are still playing, still running, still shouting. They are happy, but Max is not. He knows now that he does not belong here. This is not his real home. He is the king, but he does not feel like a king anymore. He feels small. He feels alone. He takes a deep breath and tells the wild things, "I am leaving. I have to go." The wild things stop what they are doing. They look at Max with wide eyes. They do not want him to leave. They love him. They need him. No, they shout, "Please don't go. Stay with us. Be our king forever." Max shakes his head. "I can't," he says. "I want to go home." The wild things begin to cry. They stomp their feet. They show their sharp teeth. They roar and howl. They try to scare him just like they did when he first arrived. But Max is not afraid. He knows they are not really scary. He knows they are just sad. One of the wild things steps forward. "If you go, we will be lonely," it says. "We love you." Max's heart feels heavy. He does not want to make them sad. But he knows he cannot stay. He misses his mother. He misses his home. He misses the smell of his dinner waiting for him. So he turns and walks away. He moves through the trees, back to the shore. The wild things follow him, crying and calling his name. "Max, don't go." But Max does not stop. He has made his decision. When he reaches the boat, he climbs inside. The wild things surround him, their big eyes full of sadness. They wave their arms. They roar one last time. "We will eat you up. We love you so." Max smiles a little. He knows they do not really want to eat him. They just do not want him to leave. The wind begins to blow, and the boat moves away from the shore. Max watches as the island gets smaller and smaller. The wild things stand there watching him go. Soon, they disappear into the distance. The ocean stretches out before him. The waves rise and fall, carrying him back. He does not know how long the journey will take. But now he knows where he is going. He is going home. Max sails across the ocean, just as he did before. The waves carry him forward, and the wind pushes his little boat. The sky changes from night to day, then back to night again. He watches the stars shine above him, and he listens to the sound of the water. It is quiet now. There are no wild things here, no loud roars, no wild dancing, only the sea, the wind, and Max. As he sails, he thinks about everything that has happened. He remembers how he ran away to this strange land. He remembers how the wild things made him their king. He remembers the fun, the excitement, the freedom. It felt good to be in charge, to have no rules, to do whatever he wanted. But he also remembers the feeling that came after. The emptiness, the loneliness, the deep longing for something more. Now he understands. Being wild was fun, but it was not enough. Being a king was exciting, but it did not make him happy forever. He needed something more. He needed love. He needed home. Max closes his eyes and thinks about his mother. He can almost see her face. He remembers how she looks at him when she tucks him into bed. He remembers the soft sound of her voice when she calls his name. He remembers the smell of his favorite food, waiting for him on the table. He did not appreciate these things before. He did not realize how special they were. But now he does. The boat moves on, faster and faster, as if it knows the way home. The waves rise and fall, guiding Max forward. He does not feel lost anymore. He knows where he is going. He is not a king here. He is not in charge. He is just a boy, sailing home to the people who love him. The journey feels long, but he does not mind. He is patient. He watches the sky, the water, the changing light. He listens to the wind. He waits. He knows that soon he will see the shore. Soon he will be home. The boat rocks gently as Max sits inside, watching the endless ocean stretch before him. He has traveled far from the land of the wild things, and now the wildness inside him feels quieter. The adventure was exciting, but the longing for home is stronger. He lets the wind push him forward, carrying him back to where he truly belongs. As he sails, he begins to notice changes in the air. The wind is softer now, warmer. The sky, once filled with dark clouds and wild storms, is clearer. The waves no longer crash and roar like they did when he first set out. Instead, they roll gently, moving him closer and closer to the shore. Max leans over the side of the boat, dipping his hand into the cool water. He watches the ripples spread out, disappearing into the vast ocean. He thinks about the wild things, about their strange and wonderful faces, their wild dancing, their howling laughter. They loved him, and for a while he loved being their king. But even with all their fun, something was missing. Now, as he moves closer to home, he realizes what that missing piece was. It was warmth. It was safety. It was knowing that someone cared for him, even when he was difficult, even when he was wild. The wild things adored him, but they could never give him what his mother could. The love of home. The thought makes his chest feel full. He remembers his mother's face, her worried eyes, her gentle hands. He wonders if she missed him. He wonders if she was angry when he left. He wonders if she is still waiting for him. The air smells different now. It no longer carries the scent of salt and wild wind. It smells familiar, like the world he left behind. He looks ahead, searching for land. At first, all he sees is water, stretching far and wide. But then, slowly, something appears in the distance. A dark shape, small at first, then growing larger. It is land. It is home. His heart begins to beat faster. He grips the sides of the boat, leaning forward. The waves carry him faster now, as if they, too, know that this is where he belongs. The boat moves steadily toward the shore, and Max watches as the land becomes clearer. The trees, the rocks, the sand. Everything he left behind is there, waiting for him. The journey is almost over. The adventure is coming to an end. But Max does not feel sad. He does not wish to turn back. He knows deep inside that this is where he needs to be. He takes a deep breath, feeling the air of home fill his lungs. He is ready. He is finally home. The boat drifts closer and closer to the shore. The waves are calmer now, gently pushing him toward the land. Max grips the edges of the boat and watches as his home comes into view. The place he once ran away from. The place he thought was too small, too boring, now looks different to him. It looks warm. It looks safe. It looks like where he truly belongs. His feet touch the sand as he steps out of the boat. The ground feels solid beneath him, steady and familiar. He takes a moment to breathe in the air. It smells like home, not like the wild forests of the island, not like the salty wind of the ocean, but like something softer, something comforting, the scent of trees, of earth, of something warm waiting for him inside. He looks around. Everything is just as he left it. The trees, the fence, the house standing quietly in the night. It is strange how nothing has changed. Even though he feels so different now, he walks slowly toward the house, his heart beating faster with every step. What if his mother is still angry? What if she does not want to see him after he behaved so badly? What if she does not even notice he was gone? These thoughts fill his mind, but still he keeps walking. He is tired now, more tired than he has ever been. The journey across the ocean, the days of being a king, the wild games, the lonely nights. They have all left him feeling heavy. His legs feel weak, his eyes droop, and all he wants is to be inside, where it is warm, where it is safe. He reaches the door and slowly pushes it open. The house is quiet. The warm glow of the lamp fills the room, casting soft shadows on the walls. Everything is still, peaceful. It is almost as if time has not moved since he left. And then he sees it. On the table, waiting for him, is his dinner, a bowl of warm food, sitting there as if it has been waiting just for him. The sight of it makes his chest feel tight. His mother knew he would come back. She did not forget him. She was not too angry to care. She still loves him. Max steps forward, suddenly feeling smaller than he did before. He is not a king here. He is just a boy who ran away, a boy who made mistakes, a boy who got angry and wild, but still a boy who is loved. He sits down and looks at his dinner. He does not need to say anything. He does not need to explain. He does not need to be anything more than who he is. He is home. He is safe. And for the first time in a long time, he feels at peace. Max sits in the quiet warmth of his home, staring at the meal in front of him. The steam rises gently from the bowl, filling the air with a familiar smell. It is the kind of food that reminds him of safety, of care, of all the things he once took for granted. His stomach rumbles, but he does not rush to eat. He just sits there for a moment, letting the warmth of the room wrap around him. The house is silent except for the soft ticking of a clock somewhere in the background. The walls, the furniture, the dim light from the lamp. Everything feels untouched, as if no time has passed at all. But inside him, everything is different. He is not the same boy who stomped out of this house, dressed like a wild thing, full of anger and mischief. He has traveled across the sea. He has ruled over creatures bigger and wilder than himself. He has seen what it means to be alone, and he has felt what it means to be missed. He picks up the spoon and takes a bite. The food is still warm, just as if it had been made for him moments ago. He does not know how long it has been sitting there, but it does not matter. What matters is that it is here, waiting for him just like his mother. Max thinks about her. Somewhere in the house, probably sleeping. He remembers her face when she had scolded him earlier that night. Her voice sharp with frustration. At that moment, he had only felt anger. He had wanted to escape, to run to a place where he could be free, where no one could tell him what to do. And he had found that place. He had ruled over it. But even when he was king, even when the wild things obeyed him, he had not felt the same kind of warmth that he feels now. He wonders if his mother had come to check on him. Had she looked into his room while he was gone? Had she stood at the window, worrying about where he had disappeared to? Had she waited up for him, hoping he would return? He does not know, but deep down, he feels that she must have. She must have known he would come back. A soft breeze moves the curtain near the window, and Max glances outside. The world beyond is dark and quiet, so different from the wild, untamed land of the creatures. The trees do not dance. The sky does not roar. Everything is still. He knows now that this stillness is not boring. It is peaceful. It is home. He leans back in his chair, his body heavy with exhaustion. His adventure is over, but the lessons it taught him will stay. He understands now that love does not need to be loud or wild. It does not need to be filled with grand gestures or loud voices. Love is quiet. Love is patient. Love is a warm meal left on the table, waiting for you to come home. Max takes another bite and sighs. He does not feel like a king anymore, but that is okay. He does not need to be a king. He just needs to be Max. And right now, that is enough. Max sits at the table, feeling the warmth of the food settle inside him. The house is so quiet that he can hear his own breathing. The journey he took, the wild creatures he met, the way he became their king. It all feels like a dream now, but he knows it was real. He knows because he feels different. He feels older, wiser, even though no one else will be able to see the change inside him. He looks down at his hands. They are the same hands that once built forts out of blankets. The same hands that pointed at his mother in anger. The same hands that held the crown of a king. But now, they are simply the hands of a boy who has found his way home. He thinks back to the island where the wild things lived. He remembers their faces, their huge eyes filled with both joy and sadness when he left. He had promised he would stay with them forever. But deep down, they all knew it was a promise he could not keep. He wonders what they are doing now. Are they still having wild rumpuses? Are they still waiting for their king to return? Or have they accepted that he is gone, moving on with their own wild lives? Max feels a small ache in his heart, not because he regrets leaving, but because he knows that part of him will always belong to that faraway place. He will always remember the way they roared, the way they danced, the way they looked at him like he was the most important thing in the world. They had loved him in their own wild way, and for a time he had loved them too. But love is not just about adventure. It is not just about being the ruler of something. Love is also about knowing when to go home. He pushes the empty bowl aside and rests his head on the table. His body feels heavy with sleep, but his mind is still filled with thoughts. He remembers how he used to believe that being in charge, making the rules, and having others follow him would make him happy. But now he understands something deeper. Being a king did not make him feel as safe as being a son. Having a crown did not make him feel as loved as knowing someone was waiting for him. Max does not know if his mother will say anything about what happened. He does not know if she will ask him where he went or what he saw. Maybe she will pretend as if nothing happened at all. But that does not matter. What matters is that he is here now. What matters is that she left the light on for him. What matters is that even when he ran away, he was never really alone. He closes his eyes, letting the warmth of the house surround him. The world outside is quiet. The ocean is far behind him. The wild things are somewhere in the distance, in a land where the wild things are. But Max is home, and for the first time in a long time, he feels completely at peace. Max slowly lifts his head from the table. His body feels tired, but his heart feels lighter. The weight of his adventure is still inside him, but it no longer feels heavy. It feels like something precious, something to hold on to, but not something to carry forever. He looks around the room, noticing every small thing. The soft glow of the lamp, the shadows on the walls, the chair that is slightly pulled out from the table. These are things he had seen 1,000 times before, but now they feel different. They feel important. He remembers how, just hours ago, he had wished to escape from this place. He had wanted to leave behind the rules, the scolding, the feeling of being small. And he had done exactly that. He had traveled across a vast ocean, to a land where there were no rules, No parents, nothing but wildness and freedom. He had played, he had ruled, he had laughed. But in the end, the things he had run away from were the very things he missed the most. His mother had not been perfect. She had gotten angry, just as he had. She had sent him to his room without supper, just as he had shouted at her in frustration. But she had also left his dinner waiting. She had made sure that, no matter how far he had wandered, there would always be a place for him to return. She had known, even when he did not, that he would find his way back home. Max pushes himself up from the table, his legs feeling a little unsteady. He walks toward his bedroom, the wooden floor cool beneath his feet. The hallway is quiet, the air still. He places his hand on the doorknob and slowly pushes his door open. His room looks exactly as it did before. The bed is unmade, the blankets tangled from where he had tossed them aside. His toys are scattered across the floor. The window is slightly open, letting in the night air. He steps inside and sits on the bed. His wolf costume is still there, crumpled in the corner. He reaches for it, running his fingers over the fabric. Just hours ago, it had made him feel powerful, untouchable. Now it feels like a reminder of a dream, something real but also distant. He wonders if he will ever wear it again, if he will ever feel the need to be a king of wild things. Maybe he will someday, but not tonight. Tonight he is just Max, and that is enough. He lies back, pulling the blanket over him. His eyes are heavy, but his mind drifts once more to the island. He wonders if the wild things are still awake, staring at the sea, waiting for him to return. He wonders if they miss him, the way he once thought he would miss them. But he knows now that love does not disappear just because you are far away. It stays with you, no matter where you go. As sleep begins to take over, Max breathes deeply. He is home. He is safe. And even though he has no crown, no throne, and no wild creatures bowing to him, he knows that he has something even better. He has love. He has belonging. He has the quiet, gentle truth that he is exactly where he is meant to be. That's the end of the story. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe for more exciting tales. Check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for the next adventure. Thanks for watching.